Hello students. Students, I hope you are submitting the assignments. Actually, the assignments which I am giving are very short assignments. But I have observed that very few students are submitting the assignments. Most of you are not submitting the assignments. So it is compulsory for all the students to submit the assignments as well as attend the classes. Okay, we are continuously sending the reminders to you, but there is no effect on some of the students. So I request those students also to submit the assignments and to attend the classes regularly. So without wasting time, let us proceed with the previous chapter. What is spinal cord? Any one of you can answer? What is spinal cord? Children, spinal cord is the group of nerves, the bundle of nerves which is surrounded by the backbone or which is protected by the backbone is called as spinal cord. What type of tissue is present in CNS? CNS means Central Nervous System. What type of tissue is present? Any one of you can answer? Nervous tissue is present in CNS, that is Central Nervous System. Nervous tissue which consists of neurons. Children, so today we will discuss about Central Nervous System. In the previous class we discussed about reflex action. Central Nervous System consists of brain and spinal cord. And you can even see the images also. Now students, this brain, okay, it is protected by a bony structure which is called as skull. And inside it there is a fluid also which protects the brain from shock or which acts as a shock absorber. Children, this brain, it has three parts, or you can say it is divided into three parts: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Forebrain, it is the main thinking part of the brain and it controls all the voluntary actions. What are voluntary actions? The actions which are under our control. And which actions are under our control? Which needs thinking. And since forebrain is the main thinking part, so it controls all the voluntary actions of the body. The forebrain processes sensory information that is collected from the various sense organs, interprets it, and also by putting it together with the past information that is already stored in the brain. And after interpreting and processing the information or the sensory impulses which is brought about by the sensory nerves from various organs, it sends the instructions through motor nerves to different parts of the body. It instructs the muscles and the muscles react to this, or muscles respond to the instructions. Children, it is because of the presence of forebrain that humans are placed at the highest level in the animal chain. Why? Because they can think and they can take decision. Humans are the only animals who can think. Midbrain. Midbrain, it connects the forebrain and the hindbrain. It acts as a bridge and transmits signals from hindbrain and forebrain. It is associated with motor control, vision, hearing, temperature regulation and alertness. And children, one more thing I would like to tell you, that the forebrain, that the brain is divided into three parts. The forebrain again has some regions in it which is associated with different work. Okay. After midbrain we come to hindbrain. That is the last portion of the brain. It is responsible for maintaining equilibrium, transfer of information, fine adjustment of motor actions, coordinating eye movements, coordination and body balance, Posture during walking, riding, standing, swimming, running are all maintained by cerebellum or the hindbrain. It also plays a role in controlling heartbeat, breathing, blood pressure, sleep, and waking up functions. So many functions are controlled by the hindbrain, or you can say so many activities are controlled by the brain. So brain is a delicate organ, that is why it is protected by skull. Now, maintaining equilibrium or body balance, what does it mean? We all walk in a straight line. We maintain our balance while walking, even while writing also. So how it is maintained? That is maintained by hindbrain. Hindbrain is responsible for that. Now in the image, you can see different parts of the brain: forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain. I hope it is clear to all the students. So, and you can also see the spinal cord. You can see this white line passing through at the back, and you can see the brain. So these are the nerves which are coming from the brain or meeting at the brain, because spinal cord are the group of nerves moving towards the brain or coming from the brain. So it is a cluster of nerves. Now students, coordination in plants. What do you understand by this thing, coordination in plants? Now children, before going or discussing about coordination in plants, I would like to ask one question from you. That the brain sends the instructions to the organs or to the muscles, the sensory muscles or the muscles present in the sense organs. How this nervous tissue causes action, how this response, it causes the muscles to act, or how it instructs the muscles. Students, you know that muscles are made up of muscular tissue, and muscular tissue has muscle cells. Now in the muscle cells, you have studied last year in class 9th, in the muscle cells certain special type of proteins are present, which has a particular shape and which are arranged in a particular manner. There is particular type of arrangement. So when the electrical impulse from the brain reaches these cells, what happens? The shape of the cells changes, and when the shape of the cell changes, the arrangement also changes, which make them shorter and the muscles contracts. So this is how the muscular tissue reacts. Now, coordination in plants. How the plants they coordinate? Because in animals there is a nervous tissue and there are muscles also which respond. But in plants there is no nervous tissue, there are no muscles. So how do plants coordinate? Or how the movements of the plants can be controlled? Now students, plants also respond to stimuli, that you know that the sunflower, or not the sunflower, or you can say that the shoots, they grow towards light and roots always grow away from light. So also is a movement. They are also, so here light is the stimuli and the movement of the shoot and the root, we can say that is the response. So we can also say that even the plants are also responding to the stimuli. But how is it possible? Because they don't have a nervous tissue, they don't have muscles. Students, let us consider two cases. First case, you all are aware of mimosa plant, which is also called as touch me not plant. Now when you touch that plant from one point or leaf from one point, we observe that all the leaves, they fold and they droop. So here we can see some type of a movement because the leaves are folding, so some kind of movement is observed. This is one case. Second case is this germination of seed. Now what happens in germination of seeds? Roots, they grow downwards and the shoots, they grow above the soil. So here also they are moving. Movement is shown, but movement is shown how? By growth. If this growth is restricted, suppose if we use certain chemicals, or if this growth of the root and the shoot is stopped, I will say, what will happen? The plants will not move, or the roots will not grow. Movement will not be shown by the seed, germination of seed. Now, and you will also observe that roots always grows in a particular direction, that is always towards the soil, away from light, and shoots always grow towards light, above the soil. So this is happening, this takes place in a particular direction. Now, in first case, that is when we touch the mimosa leaves, all the leaves, they folded and they droop. Okay, now movement was caused, there was a movement, but no growth is involved in this movement. Whereas in the second case, that is the germination of seed, movement was there, that the shoots is growing down and root is growing down and shoot is growing above the soil. Movement is there, but that movement is dependent on growth. That movement is, I will say, that movement is due to the growth. Okay, because the shoot is growing above the soil and root is growing down, that is why plant is showing movement. So there are two types of movement. One is growth dependent movement, that is germination of seedlings, which is also called as directional movement because it is happening in a particular direction, like roots are growing down, okay, and shoots are growing up. And second case, that is the mimosa plant. Okay, the leaves, they fold and they droop on touching at one point. That is growth independent movement. So these are the two types of movement. But another question is this, that the mimosa plant was touched at one point, okay, and all the plants, or you can say all the leaves of the plant, they fold and they droop. That means this stimuli of touch, that is distributed, or that is communicated, I would say, to all the parts, or that is communicated to all the leaves. How it is done? Because there is no nervous tissue, there is no muscle. So how it happens? Children, it happens due to the presence of certain chemicals. Okay, and these chemicals are called as phytohormones. These chemicals, they transfer the stimuli to rest of the part of the plant. I hope it is understood by everyone. So how do the plants respond and react to various environmental stimuli? This was here the stimulus was touch, but there are many environmental stimuli like light, water, gravity, chemicals. So how they respond? They respond because of the presence of certain chemicals which are called as phytohormones. Phytohormones affect the plant growth as well as the movement of the plant part like leaves, stem and root. Plants control various movements only through chemicals. Okay? Understood everyone? Now, what are actually phytohormones? Children, phytohormones are naturally synthesized plant hormones. Understood or no? They are the naturally synthesized plant hormones which are organic in nature and which is produced by the plants in response to the stimulus. Whatever stimulus is there, in response to that, the particular hormone is synthesized. And they are always synthesized away from the region of action and They are synthesized, and after that they are transported by vascular tissues to other parts where they produce the response. Is it clear? So here also same thing has happened, that the chemicals are produced and the chemicals are taken to different parts of the plant where the response can be seen. Now in this section, this much is enough. No need to go in detail. Only you should know superficially, means above, means you need not have to go too much in detail. I hope all of you have understood. Now students, after hearing the audio and watching the video, I have given few questions, very short questions for classwork. Please complete those questions, write the answers and show me before the class gets over. All the students have to submit the classwork and the homework. It is mandatory for everyone to do. And after that also, if time is left and if you have any doubt, kindly clarify your doubts. And students, try to maintain the timings. Evening session, whenever time is allotted, try to ask questions during that time and also submit the assignments 15 minutes before the allotted time, not whenever you feel like. Okay? Thank you, students.